Hi friends, it's Sarah here with Sourdough Diaries, day number 2. If you're anything like me, my sourdough starter has not really done much, which is very normal for this early stage. I have been stirring it 3 times a day with a clean spoon or a fork or something like that. And just taking note that there's nothing going on yet that we can notice. Now you might have asked yourself, why the heck do I have to stir this 3 times a day? Well, that's because not only is this a really great environment for yeast to cultivate and grow, it's also a really great environment for bacteria to grow. Now, it's true that there are some good bacteria and some bad bacteria, and in this case, the bacteria that's going to fall into our sourdough starter is an aerobic kind. So that means that this bacteria thrives on oxygen too. So when we stir this up 3 times a day, we are mixing it into our flour and it's basically suffocating that bacteria. So this allows our yeast to thrive and take over. Now, when we have a lot of bacteria or a lot of yeast in our starter, we'll see lots and lots of bubbles. And then through this process, our yeast will be very strong and healthy so that we don't have to continue stirring it. So we'll just continue this process, stirring 3 times a day, leaving it out on the counter or in a nice, warm, draft-free place. And then we will feed it soon when we see some activity. It's day number 3, and I'm very excited to share with you that my starter has started to bubble. So it's not as bubbly now as it was when I woke up this morning, and you probably won't be able to see the tiny bubbles that I'm looking at right now, but it was quite active. It separated a little bit. I took a picture for you. But that's normal. Sometimes the water and the flour will separate a bit when there's activity going on in our starter. So that means that the yeast have finally started to take over, and it's time to feed it. So let's say yours is not at this point yet, and that's okay. Just continue to stir it 3 times a day with a clean spoon, and then eventually yours will catch up as well. Now, you'll know that something has gone awry if you notice a color change. So this won't happen if we continue to stir it. But if we forget to stir it for a while, then you're going to see some coloration form on the top of the starter. So oftentimes it's kind of a pinkish color. Sometimes, very rarely, sometimes it will be black, but I don't think that we'll get there because we're taking good care of our starter, right? So now it's time to feed it. So what this means is that we're going to take out some of the starter and put it in a clean new house, a bigger house, and then we're going to feed it again with the same amount of flour and water. So I like to start with a clean jar each time instead of just dumping this out and adding to this, just because I like to make sure that things are being as sterile, they're as clean as possible. So I know this jar is good and clean, and so I'll just give my starter a little stir, and then I'll take out about half of it. So probably just 1 scoop from this teaspoon will be enough. Maybe 1 more. Yeah, great. So now I will take my kind of like soup spoons full of flour again, give it that to eat, and then about the same amount of water. We'll stop there and see if we need more. And then we'll just stir it up. We want to, again, make it that consistency of pancake batter. And then we'll do another round of this, stirring 3 times a day to make sure that team yeast is winning over team bacteria, all right? but we're getting very close to feeding this to a point where we can really enlarge it so that we can start using it. And I've already been brainstorming about the things that we can make together besides bread. I see sourdough pancakes in the future, maybe even some cinnamon rolls, we'll see. So I watered it down too much, so I'm gonna add a little more flour. And that's what's so great about this process is that unless you're making some fancy artisanal bread, you don't really have to be exact. You just need to know what to look for so that your product will turn out well. So here's what we've got. Again, kind of the schloopy pancake battery consistency. And then we do the same thing. We'll cover it up with a nice new paper towel or a new dishcloth, rubber band it, and then just set it on the counter, and then we'll stir it again 3 times a day. And then I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day.